First of all, my message to all my viewers, as you know, this coronavirus have created too much problem in the world. So please, my request is stay at home, and whenever you go outside, maintain the social distance and wear the mask and save yourself and save others. Now I'm going to tell you my videos. As you know, long time I couldn't conduct any video due to this COVID-19. I haven't been visiting any machine outside for more than 1 month. So now I decided I have to convey my technical information to my viewers through my lectures at the home. I am sure you will get too much knowledge which can help you to repair the machines and vehicles. The technicians who is expert in his field, his knowledge become deeper. And for the technicians who are new or the students of this field, it will be good opportunity for them. They can learn very deeply. Today I am going to deliver the lecture about the alternator, which one is a very important component of electrical system of every vehicle and machines. And also, you know, the function of the alternator is charging and providing the power supply when machine or vehicle starts. I will tell you in details how we can troubleshoot the any faulty alternator, and also I will explain all the component of the alternators, how it works, because you know I am also technicians, so I will deliver my lectures in technical aspects, not theoretically. There is a little difference between alternator and generator, which I also want to show you. So the comparison of the generator and alternator. Number one is a generator. Generator convert the mechanical energy from the prime mover into an AC or DC electrical energy, whereas an alternator is a machines which convert the mechanical energy from prime mover into the AC only into AC electrical energy. Second difference, the generator takes input supply from the rotor, whereas the alternator takes input supply from the stator. Third one, the armature of the generator is rotating, whereas the armature of an alternator is stationary. Number 4, the generator has a narrow range of RPM, whereas the alternator has a wide range of RPM. Number 5, the generator charges the dead battery, whereas alternator does not charge the completely dead battery. Number 6, the output of the generator is lower, whereas the output of the alternator is higher. Number 7, the generator requires large space, whereas the alternator is smaller in size and require less space. This is the small difference between alternator and generator. I think this one is only for your general knowledge. But the basic thing about the generator, how it works and what are of its functions. So first of all, we talk about we talk about the parts of the alternators. So parts of the alternators, the first one is the fan. You can fan emit the heat produced in the generator outside. Number two is the holding plates. Holding plates, with these plates we fix the alternator at the engines. Number three is the stator core. Number four, stator windings. Number five, brush. This brush is connected to the slip ring of the rotors, which transfer the stator exciter current. And brush holders. Number seven, rectifiers. Convert the AC voltage into the DC voltage. Bearing cover. 9 number is rotor windings, and 10 number is a rotor, and last and 11th number is the V-belt pulley. This pulley is work to rotating the rotors. So these are the parts of the alternator. Now we talk about these are the total. There is a 11 part of the alternator. 11 parts of the, but major part of the alternator are these are three. These are also, or other parts are also function, but here we only these three particle parts. Here major components are the rotor, moving part of the alternator, and second one is the stator, and that is the stationary part of the alternator, and this third one is the regulator. It regulates the voltage generated by the generator. So I will discuss only on these components. So first one is the rotor. So this is a rotor. The exciter winding is arranged on the internally revolving rotor. The excitation of the magnetic field required direct current, which fed to the rotor via two carbon brushes on the slip ring. How we check it? As you can also see in the diagrams, this multimeter, this knob fixed on the resistor side, and then these two leads of this multimeters put on the slip rings of the rotors, and check the resistance. What is the resistance? So measure the resistance between the slip rings. If the resistance does not comply with the factory specification, replace the rotors. Number two, use the resistance range of the continuity tester to check the continuity between slip ring and the core. Mean you put between one leads here and one leads on the core here. Then again one lead put here and second lead put here. First you check the resistance between two after one by one core and slip rings, and their resistance should be infinite. If you not find infinite resistance, you must replace the rotors. So what is the note number one? The factory specification for the resistance is 2.8 to 5 ohms. Okay, this is a range. Minimum resistance should be 2.8 and maximum 5 ohm. Then your between the slip rings and between the core and slip ring, it should be infinite. And number two, notice that the rotor coil can only be measured in disassembled state. First you disassemble from the generator, then you can test this rotor. So this is about the rotor. Now we talk about the stator. So in the generator, the armature winding are located inside stationary stator. The three stator winding are electrically offset to each other by 120 degree. So how we can check? Same as we check the rotor. This multimeter, we put this knob on resistor sides and take two leads. We check one by one coil to other, and second coil to third, and third coil to one. In this way we individually check the resistance. So the resistance range of the continuity tester to test the measure the resistance between the individual line of the stator winding. If the measuring voltage does not comply with the factory specification, thus replace the stator. And if the resistance between individually coils not comply with the factory specification, you must change the stator. Secondly, use the resistance of the continuity tester to check the continuity between the individual stator winding and core. Replace the stator if no infinite value is indicated. Similarly, you put one lead here, second lead on the core. First, then you put one lead here and then put on coil. Then you put one lead on the third windings and put on the coil. If they're infinite, if you get the infinite resistance, then your stator is good, and the factory specification for the resistance is less than 1 ohms. Between the winding resistance should be 1 ohms, and between windings and the core is infinite. So this one is the this one slide shows the how current flow in the stator windings. This is also about the stators. So the wiring diagram shows in 3 windings in Y connection. You can see 3 windings, V blue, U orange, and green is W. These 3 wires, and this is also the rectifiers, a 6 diode rectifier we use this. So diode D1, D3 are also referred to as minus diode because they have beep minus as common connection minus plates. Other diodes are plus diodes. The rectifier diodes have the effect that the negative half wave is suppressed and the positive section of the wave allowed to pass, resulting in the pulsating DC voltage. So these diodes, when negative cycle of these windings come, it's suppressed, but positive is passed. So this was how to flow the current in the windings, and you can see this start from here and this start from here and third one start from here. These 3 wires have a 120 difference to each others. So this was about the stators. Now we talk about the regulator, and I am sure this time the information which I giving to you about the regulator you never heard or listened before. So regulators, you know the regulators regulate the only voltage, but what type of regulators and how we test the regulator you never did it before, I am sure. So please listen carefully about this one, regulators. So regulators mean to regulate. First, regulate the voltage generated by the generator is first function. Second function, the protect against overload caused by too high output currents, and third one is a protection against reverse current. So now you can, if the output voltage or the output current of the generator exceeds the determined maximum value, the field current, and thus the electric power is reduced. Second one, the alternator. In the alternator, the electrically arranged exciter field of the generator rotor is influenced by attached electric charge regulator. Regulator transfer the field current to slip rings of the rotor. And third one, the regulator compares the rectified actual current to the generator with the stable reference voltage in the regulator and matches the strength of the exciter field by increasing or reducing current flow. PWM, pulse width modulation switch controller, in such a way that actual voltage of the generator voltage is thereby regulated. The generator current, however, is not measured but limited by construction dependent internal resistance of the stator coil or thermal monitorings. So this was the actually function of the regulator. Now we talk about the types of the regulators. There are two types I told you. The first is a minus regulator and second one is the plus regulator. So minus regulator, you can see if the carbon brush is not connected to the ground, the regulator is a so-called minus controlled regulator. The exciter winding is positioned between D plus and D minus. You can see also in figures, this is exciter windings. This exciter windings, this is a one side is DF and second is D plus 1. The regulator therefore regulate the exciter winding on the ground side. It regulates from the ground side, therefore it is called a minus regulator. The other carbon brush is connected with the cathode of the exciter winding diode. Cathode of the exciter winding terminal D plus. So D plus is a vehicle wiring system and D minus is a ground contact and DF is the dynamo field and some on the, and you can see on the generator is also written as a W. W means a frequency. So this is U, actually U, this is a complete regulator. U mean a unit. This is regulator units is three corners. So this is D plus, DF and D minus, and 31 and 30 and 15 is a terminal number on the generators. So this one is a light which we should tell us the generator is working or not working. So now plus regulator, if the carbon brush is connected to the ground, the regulator is a so-called plus controlled regulator. The exciter winding is positioned between D minus and DF. In minus regulator, you see this exciter winding was connected between DF and D plus, but here in plus regulator, the winding is the exciter winding is connected between minus D and DF. The regulator therefore regulates the exciter winding on the plus side. The other carbon brush is then connected with the terminal DF, and if the carbon brush one is connected to ground and second one is a DF, but in minus one is connected to the DF and other one connected to the D plus. So this is same D plus, D minus and DF, and this you can see also same is this, but difference is only here is this exciting winding is the D minus and minus is connected to other sides, and this is switch, ignition switch on and off. Now is the regulator is the main part, the testing. How to test the regulator? I am 100% sure before, I don't know, I not heard before, maybe you also not tested before the regulators, how to test the regulator. So how we can test a regulator is faulty or not, to sure about, to ensure it is really, by sometimes we not ensure, but for ourselves, after my video you can test the regulator. How to test? So for testing, what is need for testing this regulator? The basic function of the disassembled regulator. First you disassemble the regulator from the generator and then can easily be tested out. Easily a test कर सकते हैं. For it we need 12 volt lamp and adjustable DC power supply 0 to 16. This is for the system, this is for 14 volt systems. If you want to check the generator for regulator of the 24 volt, then you need this power supply from the 0 to 30 volt. Then you what you connect this regulator, you connect the regulator D plus to positive side of the battery and D minus to the negative side of the battery, and this lamp is to the brushes of the regulator. Okay, this is your main connections. This is the connection of the testing, how to test. Now what you have to do, you increase the voltage of this battery. So what will happen, connect the regulator D plus and D minus to the power supply, as you can see in the figure, and the lamp of the both carbon brushes. When slowly increasing the voltage, the lamp will first become brighter, because the regulator allows all lamp current, which one is equal to exciter current, to flow at voltage value up to the 14.4, and whenever your battery reach the 14.4, this will become brighter. But if you increase more than this one, then once the regulator voltage reached, the regulator switches lamp current off. When returning voltage back below the control voltage, the regulator will switches the lamp back on. So this one is about the regulator, what is the function of regulator, and what type of regulator, and how we test regulator. This one this is a two type of diagrams. This one is called the current flow with ignition switched on, engine stop. So you can see, you saw when we on the engine, the charge light is on, and this one diagram is the current flow with ignition switched on, engine is running. Then the current flow from this side to this one, this is the flow of the current. So this charge control light is very important. So charge control light has two duties. Number one, indication of the correct generator functions, and number two, external excitation of the generator during the starting phase. So here is some numbers which I want to inform. This is the one number is battery, number 2 is regulator, and number 3 is showing the ignition switch, number 4 is charge control lights, and here is a lights up, and number 5 is the rectifier, and number 6 is showing the routers, and number 7 is slip rings or carbon brush, and number 8, this one very small part, this is the auxiliary rectifier. So I will try to explain these two diagrams. So normally the charge control light lights up with engine stopped and goes and engine switched on. This light is on when engine is stopped and ignition switch is on, and this light goes out, which we can see in these figures, when engine is in the low speed. So a far more important function of this lamp is the its function is also the transition and provision of the field current. Now when engine is start, while the rotor when engine is started, while the rotor is rotating, current is induced into the stator winding, whereby small part of the current, this is a small part of the current, flow to the regulator, charger through this regulator into the rotor winding field. But the major part of this, you can this showing this current showing is big one and this one is small one. So the major part of this current is flow to the output terminal of the battery, and we tapped, so this you can say, and therefore and from here the tapped current we can useful current. So this one is the this diagram is showing the little function of this light, and from this light we can also see that generator is working or not working. So now our final slide is about the generators. So if generator is not working, so we have to check the cable connection of the all cable connection which are attached to the generators. We also need to check the belt. We also generator must check the generator grounds and pre-excitation from the vehicle electronics. If all these four things is okay but generator is not working, it means the generator is originally have the fault. So there is I want to about the checking the pre-excitation circuit. Okay, D plus generators. So pre-excitation, what's the pre-excitation circuits and how we can check the pre-excitation. The most common reasons for three-phase alternator not charging is a too low a pre-excitation current. The pre-excitation current through the connection D depends on the connected consumer resistance. Consumer resistance mean the bulb, the charge control lights, or the relay of the MD plus engine controller. The pre-excitation current should be approximately 250 milliamperes at 12 volt. This corresponds with 3 watt light bulb or an equivalent combination of the light bulb plus resistance. The total resistance of the disconnected dead supply lines D plus maximum should not exceed 48 ohms. In case of fault like charge control light stays on, no voltage increase, for example from 12 to 14. So one should check that the correct resistance is assured. Secondly, the temporarily bridge the connections D plus and B plus on the three-phase alternator as shown in the figure. This you can say this is this one D plus and this is bridge to D. This is D plus and B plus. This make a bridge, and this way is it can be a bulb. So he said that the D plus and B plus on the alternator as shown in the figure. The bridging must be made using an insulated cable cross section 1.0 mm, and either end of this cable must be filled with consumer X. Consumer X mean this put must be light. If this measure does not clear the fault, the alternator must be defective. It means if you bridge this you just only you can also can little short of this one, and generator not start the generation power, so it's mean generator have a really uh, faulty, and you